welcome back to the show, everyone. My name is Erica Seameyer Williamson, and we are going to continue with part 2 with Beto Pena. We had so many things to talk about confusion, your sexuality, whether it's a sin, and just hopefully going to bring some clarity. So join us today for part 2.
And so not really having what I would call now kind of a baseless identity. I thought, if so many of those things that he had been through kind of looked like some of mine, and I know how he turned out, and he went the homosexual lifestyle. Wait, does that mean? And it was in that moment where the question popped into my head that for me was so shocking. The question was, well, if he turned out to be gay, does that mean I'm going to turn out to be gay? And again, it was just such the shock of the question, because I knew I'd always loved girls and loved the way y'all walked and talked and all that kind of stuff. And I was just always in love with y'all. But for that question to come to mind, I knew in the core, every fiber in my being, I knew, well, no, absolutely. That's not what it means. But yet but again, he went that way. Does that mean I'm going to go that way? Mm-hmm. And again, I knew that's not who I was. But then I asked the question, well, why would I ask that question in the first place? And now your mind, because the mind is so powerful, if left unchecked, your mind, if it's not stable, or if it doesn't know where you stand, it'll race in so many different directions and paint all these different images and possible realities. And I mean, pretty soon you feel like you're absolutely going to go insane. True. And it's like, wait a minute, what the heck? What is this? And so again, I was a helicopter Navy rescue swimmer for the Navy, the U.S. Navy. And, so there were some rescue scenarios where we went, and they were very successful rescues. Yeah. Some kind of entertaining and ridiculous rescues. And again, those are stories for another time. But we went through hurricanes, we went through all types of stuff, and, boats crashing. So I've seen a lot of death. So for me, and so you kind of get like some PTSD from seeing stuff like that, none of us are, really prepared to see. So for me, having that question come into my mind was such a shock to my own system. It was literally as impactful as seeing somebody dead, floating in the water, face down in the middle of the ocean. And so, excuse me. Wow. So for me, it was such a shock. My brain for the next several years just went on overload, overdrive, wondering what the hell is going on. Mm-hmm. And so I woke up with knots in my stomach and went to bed with knots in my stomach. Yeah. And all throughout the day and in between, all these things racing through your mind where it's like, no, I don't want to imagine that. No, I don't want, and so it's almost like somebody who is maybe a little overweight and they're trying to work out and they're wanting to really watch what they, because I've been in athletics. I used to be a professional speed skater too. There was a lot of people that I would work alongside to try to get them in shape. And a lot of their thought process, and there's a point to this, a lot of their thought process was, okay, I want to eat better. I don't want chocolate cake. I don't want chocolate cake. I don't want desserts. I don't want desserts. I don't want this. Well, exactly what they're telling themselves that they don't want. What is their brain focusing on?
What they don't want.
Exactly. Desserts. What they don't want. Mm-hmm. Instead, if they were to say, I want to have a better eating plan. I want to eat salads. I want to eat, healthy proteins, healthy fats, all that. Well, what's now their brain going to focus on? So with all that time, all those years, I'm like, no, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to envision that. I don't, anytime it would come on TV or somebody would talk about it or somebody would, whatever, my brain would be like, okay, see, there it is. And it would go, off to the races again. And it's like, no, I don't, so I never wanted to think about that. But what was my brain going to think about?
Mm-hmm.
And so, gosh, probably in my early 20s, I mean, at that point, it had been probably about 6 or 7 years of just a mental hell, mental anguish, where pretty soon you look for creative ways to kind of take yourself out.
I was going to say, how did you get off the merry-go-round? That long? That was
Yes.
for that long?
Yes, 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 yes. So my first job was probably about, 16. Early 20s. And so finally, one day, literally, I had enough because I was either going to take myself out or I was going to get to the bottom of this. And in high school, I heard about Christ. I was skipping school, go figure. Well, skipping class one day because, again, I was the kid your parents told you not to hang around with for all the wrong reasons. And in my junior year, I saw this buddy of mine at the water fountain, and I knew he went to church and was into that Jesus thing. But he invited me because I was skipping class, and he invited me to a church hayride, the following week. And I thought at first, whatever, that's stupid. But I knew his best friend was a girl named Leslie. Long, blonde, angelic hair. And so I asked him, I said, well, is Leslie going to be there? He just laughed. He's like, yep, she sure is. And so, by golly, guess where I was that next Friday night?
Whatever it takes to get someone to show up to church to give it a try, Leslie was a blessing.
Leslie was it. So, I mean, at that time, she was way out of my league. So while we never hooked up or got together, I started hearing about who Christ was and just about his love for, he can love anybody and, anybody who's fill in the blank. Because again, I was probably most voted to be in jail or dead by the time I was 18.
No, you were not.
Well, just because of the troublemaker that I was in all the different ways. So I just found out, oh man, this Jesus can love somebody like me. And so I started hearing about the precepts and his love and, just for people. And I thought, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. So I accepted Christ as my savior as a junior in high school. So when I started school late, so about probably 17. Yeah, almost 17. And so I'd had a walk with Christ, or I begun a walk with Christ. So in my early 20s, because earlier you asked, who were the role models that really basically helped form who I am today, the Beto of today. And so it was at that point in my early 20s where I'd had enough. Because again, I'm either going to take myself out or I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And so I literally reached out to people from all walks of life before I ever got into counseling, and just started asking them questions, kind of roundabout questions. Hey, now, if you had girlfriends and you didn't stay with them very long, what did that mean for you? And they're like, yeah, kind of every guy does that until you find the one. And I kept hearing that over. I'm like, oh, so that's normal. Oh, okay. Hey, cool. I was just wondering, and roundabout, and I would just ask all these different questions just of people. And then I was reading books and doing research and, long before the internet came along. And so I was just digging, and I was digging in the Bible about, what, a godly man looks like and, all these things. And I had just researched and interviewed and interviewed and interviewed. And finally, it hit me one day not out of the blue, because I was very intentional. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Beto, everything that you've been through in life is totally normal, what everybody goes through. Everybody goes through this stuff. And it doesn't mean, that you have to go down a certain path. Your buddy, your friend, your coworker who you worked with, he went, into the homosexual lifestyle. That doesn't mean that you have to, because everything you've been through, and nor did he have to, because I even interviewed people, in the homosexual lifestyle. And I know some people would get offended. Well, it's not a lifestyle, it's who I am. Well, and again, a lot, many people believe that out, and that's what they believe.
Well, you just speak. Don't worry about offending anyone, because whoever this is supposed to,
Sure.
whoever's supposed to hear it is going to hear it. And if someone's offended, maybe it's just waking something up in their soul.
Sure. I hear you, and I appreciate that, because I love people. I've been in ministry, been in counseling. I can sit down and listen to somebody for 6 hours and be just engulfed the whole time.
I know.
Just interested. So I love people, and we'll talk to anybody. And so for me, hearing everybody's story, the one commonality that I saw in every single story was their reality, or where they were at in life, had been shaped by the ways that they had interpreted the different events in their life. And so again, it's at that time where God immediately said, okay, now I want you to talk on this, and I want you to be, a voice to help people that, are struggling, and, they're not sure what to do. And that's when I told them, oh, pardon my French, God, hell no. No.
Yeah.
But again, as I see the reality of kind of what's going on in our society, is, a lot of people have bought into what society, well, let's just face it, Satan. If you believe in God, there's also a devil,
Yep.
Not sure how everybody feels about that, but so we'll just go with society instead of Satan. So society will try to sell you one thing, whether it's, hey, buy this car and you're going to make it to the top of the food chain, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Society will try to sell you one thing, but then there's the truth on this other side. And so as I looked at all those different events in my life and saw them through the lens of truth, oh, well, the guy that had you on his knee at that party, who, you thought, wow, this is warm. This is comforting. He was making sure that I wasn't going to throw up. He was loving me as a brother. Well, society would tell you, well, yeah, that just means that you're attracted to that guy. No, I'm not. The fact is, the truth is, I never received that warmth, the natural, male warmth bond from my dad. Well, this guy was giving it to me. So I could have easily misinterpreted that like, oh, well, I must be into guys. No, that couldn't be any further from the truth. The fact is that God intended for girls to have a sisterhood. That's why you have girls' weekends, and guys to have, a brotherhood. And that's why they go out, on a retreat or hunting, or, whatever it is, fill in the blank. And so I realized through the lens of truth, okay, that's totally normal. Oh, you were drawn to that, top academic, top athlete in junior high. Oh, society would say, oh, well, that means, look at. But the truth is, who doesn't want to aspire to be, to have more, to be more, to do more? That kid had it made, and everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Well, I knew I didn't have it made. So I was a draw. Well, the truth is that welcome to the human race. Everybody wants to be just a little bit more than they are. So again, why didn't I like that? Being locked in a closet with a girl. Well, I was 10. Hello, I was 10 years old. Nobody's meant for that. So again, all these things that I've been through, and all the things that so many people have been through. So the point is that if more people could learn the truth, could see the truth behind the events of their life, and see the truth behind those, they could interpret them. They could have just a proper perspective on what they had been through, instead of having nobody to walk alongside them. And now they're having to buy into society, or what the crowd says, or whatever the case is, when again, nothing could be further from the truth. So again, some people would say, well, you've never been in that lifestyle. You've never had any experiences. You've never wanted that. So you don't really get to speak up here. Okay, well, I'm not speaking to everybody, but I know I sure very well could have gone down that road.
Yeah.
But and I thank God that I'd never had any experiences or anything like, and I feel bad for the many that I've interviewed who have been abused by,
Hmm.
a twisted uncle who had his own issues and all types of things.
Right.
No, I've never been through any of that, but I have been through life, and I have been through the welcome to the human race of, okay, I've got two ways that I can look at the situation,
Hmm.
through what society would say, or what does God say, or not even if you believe in God, but what is the truth and the reality behind what you've been through.
Yeah.
And I just wish that everybody, and if there's anybody out there that say, hey dude, yeah man, I'd love to talk to you sometime, could you help me see the truth behind some of my things? I mean, absolutely love to chat with you, but I just wish anybody struggling, that's really my heart for counseling. And the reason why I never went into counseling full time is because I wanted to be able to pick and choose who I got to talk to, and talk to them for as long as I wanted to, and counsel my friends if they can, and a lot of them do, because
Yeah.
there's so many rules in professional counseling that you have to stay away from. I'm like, oh, heck, no, I'm not going to be limited by my heart for people.
Yeah.
And so I just wish I could walk alongside everybody for no matter what they're going through, because there's a truth to things, and there's, well, what's often not the truth. So again, that's my story. And it doesn't matter if it's, what subject it is. Um, each of us, because we're all human,
Hmm.
none of us have arrived, and none of us will ever arrive until, we reach the other side. We all need each other, and
Yeah.
we all need somebody to love on us. And for me, I love loving on folks the way Christ loved on me when I thought
Hmm.
I was unworthy, unloved, and everything else, wrong with
Yeah.
my life that I thought I was. And so, anyways,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd
No,
share my story.
I I'm grateful that you shared your story, and I know that people, it's interesting. I want to go back just a little bit, but when you were talking about the situations of having that the friend comfort you, and
Hmm.
just as a normal comforting, I mean, I being in the beauty industry for many years, and you're counseling and been around all kinds of
Hmm.
different types of people, and of course you and I love people, and we love to accept anyone and everyone, and we do, and that's the
Yep.
way our personalities are. But and we're grateful that people feel comforted to come to us. But you know
Yeah.
I would say, honestly, I would just say 9 out of 10. Don't you agree that? And this is what I've always found. I'm just going to speak on men right now, but
Hmm.
I had a lot of gay guy friends just being in the beauty industry. And every time, we would get close and I would hear their story. Every single time, really, it was 100%. Every time it was their dad was not around. They weren't nice, and they didn't give them comfort, attention. And the second that they fell into that someone just comforting them, they got confused and thought maybe this is what it's all about. And
Right.
I think that's the part that both of us are saying, is that we're not judging a soul that's gay or that chooses or whatever. Because some people
No.
will say,
Yeah.
I didn't choose that. But what I
Right.
think what we're speaking on is the confusion, and that
Hmm.
knowing the truth and really seeking the truth. Because if that's not your truth, which so many times it's not, it's little temptations from the enemy, from Satan, whatever you want to call it. Now society just throws it out there, and I think a lot of people try it out.
Yeah.
It's going to try it out for a while
Because
because
now it's cool.
it's cool. It's cool to do that. And but I know in every single time, and even even look at Elton John's story. Did you see it? Did you see Rocket Man?
Dang it. No, I kept really
It's
meaning
a
to, and I just
great,
never
you're
got
gonna
around
love
to
the
it.
story. It's a great movie. But
Okay.
again, proved it again. You're going to see it. It's like the love was not there. The dad was very mean to him. He was cold. Here was this musician. Don't touch my
Mhm.
things. Don't touch my, dad was, and you see that over and over and over. And if people
Yeah.
could just see the
Wow.
truth, to
Right.
know that that doesn't have to, that, gosh, just, what I'm trying to say, that
Hmm.
doesn't have to go that way just because, and just to
Right.
be more clear on that for sure. And that's amazing, really, to me, that during that, I can't believe you struggled through that for 6 years or
Hmm.
about the time. Is that when you were in
Yeah.
the Navy? Was it
No, I didn't go into the
you in the
Navy
Navy
till I
later?
was, till 26. I was still on the speed skating circuit,
Okay.
at that time. And again, always still in love with girls, and I loved the speed skating girls and all of that kind of stuff. And,
Yep.
but what everybody typically has in the back of their mind is something in life that is always on their always nagging them, always plaguing them. And I've
Mhm.
always said, and I don't know if I coined the phrase or not. Maybe this is when I was counseling in a hospital for some time, but and I probably didn't coin it. But it's a true phrase, and there's a million different ways to say it. But until we deal with what plagues us, we will always deal with what plagues us. Don't know where I got it,
I think
but
I
it's
think it came from
true.
you, but that is true.
Yes, so
Because
funny.
the way no, seriously, because the way you said it, I've never heard it said that way, and it's absolutely true, and it's mindset and
Yeah.
digging into the Word of God and knowing that we are loved. You
Hmm.
know, I
Hmm.
I'm just I know you have so many amazing stories to share, and I know that this one I could have you on 10 times and share plenty of things, and we probably will
Yeah.
again. But definitely, I'll put in the show notes a way for people to be able to reach you in case
Yeah.
they're struggling with something like that, and uh, with whether it's just confusion or sexuality or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
We'll definitely put a way for people to be able to reach out to you, and I'm prayerful
Yeah.
that this just touches people's lives and brings them from confusion to clarity. Don't you?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really do.
I know.
Because
I
I
know.
was nothing special, but I know that if I could work through what I was going through, anybody can.
Hmm.
And with the number of people that I've spoken with, just in the counseling world, no matter what the issue was, they definitely had to be at a place where they were ready to tackle the
Yeah,
issues, because many times a lot of folks weren't ready, um, because they can be painful
yeah,
to rehash the past, if you will, and they're just not ready to face it. So, I mean, when you're ready to face it, you're ready. And apparently, I was again in my early 20s, where I'm like, this is going to end one of two ways.
yeah.
So, from a
Well,
biblical perspective, you know, or it wasn't. So,
well, we're
so
great.
anybody can do it. They really can.
Anybody can do it. Just seek the truth,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're grateful again, really, Beto, for sharing. And you have, like I said, meant so much to me, to our family. You have
Mm.
been there for us and counseled me and Erica Lane at times when we needed that. And it's awesome to have friends like you. So I
Well, I
appreciate that.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you guys. I mean, y'all are just so precious, and yeah, we just
Well,
love
thank
you
you.
guys.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us again. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Erica C. Meyer Williamson. And please subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss any of the amazing stories that could open your eyes and seeing God in a whole new light and bring hope and healing to your life. If you would like to be considered as a guest on our show, please email me at ericacmeyer@gmail.com and share a little of your story. If you have enjoyed these podcasts and would like to be one of our awesome supporters, please click the Patreon link in the show notes to sign up for monthly support or a one-time donation. We thank you all for your generous support. And last but not least, we would be so honored if you would write a good review, subscribe to the show, and share this podcast on your social media. We'll see you back here next time on Amazing Grace Talk.